Hey friends, welcome to the Life of Lynn channel. Let's get to the show. And today we are back in the 1969 Chevy Camaro that we've dubbed Pickle Rick. Yeah, don't know why. It's green. It tried to kill me. We finally have some parts. I know a lot of you guys have been asking, hey, where's the Camaro? We've been doing a lot of footage on the Barth and the bus. And, well, over here is a giant pile of parts from Summit Racing, minus the cheap Pittsburgh jack stands, because we got major stuff going on. Look at this. That is a powered brake booster and a new master cylinder, because this thing has no brakes whatsoever. I tried putting some brake fluid in it and flushing it through the lines. Pedal just falls to the floor. We're replacing all of that, and we're doing major upgrades. Also, suspension. Lots of suspension. Oh, that box broke. Good. Along with that, this car is originally all disc brakes. We called Summit Racing. Went ahead and got this full disc brake conversion kit, the sport kit. It's got the cross drilled and slotted rotors. Look at these things. So the goal is to get this car running and driving on the 307 that's in it right now, and then we're going to take it and do some speed tests and see how bad the 307 is. It's a nice little V8, but it just doesn't have enough power for a car like this, and we just want to do some testing on it because it needs a lot of work anyway. Carburetor junk, needs to be replaced or rebuilt. Water pump needs to be replaced. Radiator needs to be replaced. Engine is leaking oil, transmission is leaking oil, so I'm thinking this power plant's not going to stay in this car very long. But the first thing I needed to do was get this thing on some proper suspension with some proper brakes so we can really test on it. Speaking of suspension, we found out it had this cool little lean. When you'd rev it up, the whole car would twist down and make it seem like it had a ton of torque. Turns out, things are just broken. I don't know what happened to that shock, but it's just coming up through the floor now. So we may have to do some welding and maybe put a tower brace across the back. So along with the new power brake booster, we're going to have a much bigger master cylinder for those brakes to really get these disc brakes to stop. So that's all going to help. And then the only other thing we need to do before it's really running and driving decently, obviously we have all the problems here, but we need to get the fuel system set up other than the jerry can that I have rigged here. So we need to flush the lines, drop the tank, flush that, and I think replace the mechanical fuel pump because it's leaking as well. So we got a lot of issues with this powertrain. But like I said, let's get the car up and running. Let's get it driving, stopping, and see how it does, because this thing actually tried to kill me. Weirdly enough, backed it out of the shop one day because I needed some space in here. Went to pull it back in, front tires hit this little bump right in front of the garage door here. Anyway, the throttle ended up sticking, basically half throttle, going straight towards that Suburban in the background there. I jammed on the parking brake pedal all the way through the floor and shoved it into park at the same time. The car skid for about 4 feet, and we ended up about 3/4 of an inch away from the front bumper to the rear bumper of that Suburban. So we're gonna get to work on jacking this thing up, getting our sweet Harbor Freight jacks underneath it, and getting to work on the suspension and brake kit. I'm gonna put a link down in the description for this specific kit in case anybody's interested. Master brake conversion kit for the 67 to 69 Camaro, and it came with literally everything: brackets, spindles, discs, brake lines, bearings, of course the master cylinder, lines, linkages, all the hookups for it. Yeah, it's quite the kit. About almost $700, I think. So a little bit of money being invested in this thing right now, but we'll get it stopping and go from there. Let's get to it. Alright, little update on where we're at on everything. Got the old hideous drum brakes off. They pretty much need to be redone anyway. Bearings on this side looked pretty good. Other side, pretty much dry rotted, and the wheel barely turned, so this was an accident waiting to happen anyway. Up underneath here, a lot of stuff needs to kind of be rejuvenated. I mean, ball joints and stuff are probably ancient, but got everything off. There's the old backing plate, brake cylinder. All this is going to be replaced. I'm not entirely sure what's in the kit to do all this, but I am noticing some other stuff that I'm going to want to redo here. So I'm going to need to get a bushing set for this at the bare minimum. And of course, at the very minimum, lube up everything else. If not, replace it. But so far, this is where we're at. I'm actually going to start reading the instructions now. Let's figure out how we got to put this on here. But it looks like this replaces where the backing plate was, I'm believing. Nice set of calipers with brake pads already in them. Good to go. Bolt it all back together. And then, like I said, we're going to do some bushings up here. Replace those worn out shocks. Really increase the safety of this thing tenfold. Other than that, the rear brake lines will be the same. The rear brakes will be the same. So we're just going to try to bleed everything out back there and adjust them, and hopefully that they're good. But we will be replacing the shocks in the rear as well. Probably on this tomorrow. About time to go home. Alright, next day, and got a little update. Got all the old parts off, and now we're going back on with stuff. Went ahead and cleaned all this up. Got some rust remover on all the framing and stuff. So that's looking pretty good. I did get some new suspension parts ordered for up here. We got new shocks going in, new end links, new bushings. Those will be here tomorrow. So I'm not going to get too much further with this, but yeah, this brake kit so far, this is the bracket for our caliper. So that's going to go on. Brake lines get replaced, and then those bad boys go on there. Looking pretty sharp, and this thing's going to stop on a dime. Alright, status update. It's the next day. I'm kind of doing this project in my spare time, and right now I'm super busy, so I'm getting in about an hour a day or so. Big updates. Big updates. Oh yeah. This is all assembled now. What a kit, I gotta tell you. Ended up getting new bushings in. We got this whole setup for the new rotors. 2 new bearings, obviously, for the rotor setup. Got our calipers, got our brakes in. That is looking really good. I'm liking the looks of that a lot. Pretty amazing kit, comes with everything you need. I'm super happy with it. I went ahead and went out and bought a bearing packer. Now, I've been hand packing bearings for years, just using the palm, squeezing the grease up inside there, and that's been fine, but I pack bearings quite a few times a year. I'm not sure why I never bought one of those. They're like 25 bucks. So if you pack a lot of bearings for trailers or front ends of old cars, get one of these things, because you just sit the bearing in there in this giant pile of grease, squeeze that white cap down, and it packs it right up for you. Pretty happy with that. Packed those bearings. Went ahead and packed the inside of the rotor with grease as well. Slipped all that together with the dust caps. Put our castle nut on there. Ran our cotter pin in and put the caps on. These things are great. I mean, the old ones, the old drums barely moved at all because the bearings were shot in anyway. So the rolling resistance that we've lost so far and the extra braking power is just really exciting. Also, we went ahead and cleaned everything else up. Checked the ball joints and stuff out. They're still good, so we just greased those. Did get the new sway bar end link and stuff in there, and some other bushings. And, yep, those are KYB gas adjust shocks. So we definitely needed those because the old Monroes, well, they didn't have any rebound left anymore. Yep, that doesn't do anything anymore. I think the rears are probably worse. So where we're at now, guys, we're gonna disconnect the old brake line here. But basically, I just want to get all the junk cleaned out of the lines and these things filled up for now. So that's basically the front ends reassembled on it. Next big job is I got to get in here, tear all this stuff off. Got to take off the old brake lines, so I went ahead and soaked these with the old PB blaster. I'm still probably going to twist these off and ruin them and then have to redo all the brake lines. Not excited about that, but if I don't, we'll pull that master out because we've got the brand new brake master and booster over here. Look at this thing. All right, it's another day again. This process has taken me quite a while, and actually some of you are probably wondering where my video's at because I posted a few days ago a picture of all the parts stacked on top of this thing on the channel, and everybody is very excited about that, but I haven't posted the video yet because I'm still filming it. What we got here is the master cylinder's in now. You guys just watched that. Brand new. All great, all hooked up to its distribution valve down here. Everything bolted right up for this thing. This is all good here. We got our new distribution block down here. The problem I ran into, and why it's now 3 days later since I installed this, is these brake lines are a little bit different size from what this block is. This is the only one that actually fits. It'll fit right there, which is great. This one is a hair bigger. And this one is a hair too small for the giant port on the back. So with the 3 different sizes on here, I don't know if they've been changed at one point in time or this is just a universal type block that isn't quite working for application, but either way, we'll make it work. This is going to be the front passenger side brake line. This back here is actually the front driver's side brake line. And this thicker one here, well, that's for the rear brakes. So I had to buy more parts, and that's why it's been a few more days. Let me show you what I bought. Jumped on the internet, found 4 lifetime lines, economy brake flare tool kit, and they also offer the 4 lifetime lines themselves. These are some kind of nickel copper alloy so they don't rust, and bends pretty easy, so I should be able to bend all this by hand. And then we got lots of fittings. New fittings of various sizes. I have never used one of these before, nor have I ever had to put hard brake lines on anything. I guess today, we're gonna start. Let's jump right back into it. Let's learn how to flare these brake lines. Oh boy, I am getting in over my head here. How does this even work? That goes on there? Pinchy pinchy? Yeah, alright, well, let's figure it out. First thing I'm gonna do is do some practicing. Leaking brakes is not on my priority list today. I don't know how tight you're supposed to pinch that. Let's find the other parts. And after you cut the line yourself, you're supposed to take this nice little deburring tool and just give it a couple spins. Knock the edges off. Maybe just do this until something happens. Yep. Let's see if we flared this line. Okay, I think I might have actually done it. That looks not bad. Alright. You guys see that? Probably not. Pretty simple device. Obviously the professionals will be using something a little bit less antiquated than this. But I do believe that looks like a decent flare on there. So I guess my practice one's out of the way. Now I have to cut this off. Because that's not... Well, maybe I could keep that. Maybe? I don't know. I'm going to do that front driver's side brake. Put that on the bottom there and run it up to the master. See what happens. Status update. Not going super great. You guys saw me do that quick first flare. No problem. Looks good. Lined it up on there and put a little curly Q in there to, you know, give it some room to move around. Went to go do the flare for that front driver's side disc, and the die broke off. Inside of the brake line, there's supposed to be a little nub sticking out of the center that keeps this thing centered as it's smooshing the brake line, creating that flare. But it broke off in this. I did get it out, but if you'll notice, that flare does not look near as good as that one. At this point in time, I don't have any more time to waste on this, and I can't wait another 3 days to buy this new little die for this flare kit. So we're gonna run with this and see how bad it leaks. We're moving along, so we're using the old brake line because this is the only one that had the right fitting on it. This is passenger front. That line's fine. We're reusing that. This line down here, it's the line I bent for driver's side front. That line's also on. Got her bent down right around here. Straight down to the soft line. All that's good. This is our rear line right here. And I wasn't thinking when I ordered these fittings and lines, I'm going to try not to replace that entire line, because there's nothing wrong with it other than the fitting was wrong. So I just cut that off, and I was gonna stick a new fitting on that's the right size and flare that out. But this tubing is a 1/4 inch tubing, while the rest of this is 3/16. The fittings I have are all 3/16. Yep, I'm not waiting around. So we're gonna take the drill to this and make it a 1/4 inch. Alright, you guys might not be able to tell, but I've been fighting with one fitting for 45 minutes and I'm sweating profusely. We got the rear brake line on. There it is. You can see the struggle. You can't get a wrench really back here unless it's at an angle, but if you try to do it at an angle, then it tries to push the line out of the way. So then you have to have a hand over here and a hand up here and a hand up here, and that doesn't all fit. But good news is all 3 of our brake lines are now on the master cylinder. That is mounted. It's ready for fluid. Our brake pedal's hooked up. I'm tired. And today, nobody's here to help me bleed the brakes. I'm gonna keep going. Well, guys, I guess that's it. I think I got them. Cracker SS's, they need a little sparkle, but I think everything's together. Forgot to put the vacuum booster on. I want to cut a hole in the line for that. But right now I'm tired and I've got about 37 seconds to go pick my kids up from daycare. I just want to make sure that these brakes work. Let's find out. I've been able to hit the pedal and the car actually stopped. Needs more bleeding. Need to get that brake booster hooked up. That'll help. Stop. Well, we've got brakes. It's important. I can stop now. Well, look at the dirt flying out of this thing. It's never been so fast. Pulls a little bit of one side. Yeah, we gotta bleed them a little more. I'm fairly satisfied with the results so far. I think we're making a lot of progress here. One of the most important things about having good disc brakes up front is, can you do a power brake? We have to find out. Check and check. Only on one tire fire though. Surprised me. Guess the base model Camaro didn't get the option for the Positrack. It's a disappointment. Brake light's on, and it blew the oil cap out of it. Must have some blow by. Well, friends, I desperately have to be going. Gotta go pick up the kids, you know. And family duty is important. I don't have a watch on. That's gonna do it for me today. I've spent about a week just doing the brakes on this car, on and off. It's my busy season, so I'm having a hard time getting everything done when I need to, especially getting videos out. I know you guys have enjoyed a couple of the last series, the bus, the Bark, and the Camaro. The Camaro is gonna be a pretty big focus here in the coming months, but I will have more footage and videos on all kinds of other stuff, including the Barth motorhome and our tiny house conversion bus. So look forward to that stuff. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel already, please hit the like button on this video and then go and subscribe if you haven't, because it really helps me out a bunch. And I appreciate it. I do. I thank it. I like you. I like it when you guys do all the things, the subscribing and the liking. And shoot a comment down below. I do read every single one of them. I don't have time to respond back to every single one. I try to respond to a lot of them though. So if you guys throw something in the comment zone, I will read it. That's where we're at. I better go find out how to turn this brake light off before I leave and make sure this thing's not going to burst into flames. That's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you. I'll see you next time.